What up, Hoopers? You're watching NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. NBA playoffs continue to roll on in what has been a riveting NBA playoffs up to this point, but it's never too early to look ahead to the NBA draft and NBA free agency and some NBA trade ideas. I'm taking all of your questions right now here on the show, so let's get to it. Okay, we start off with this question coming in from Charles Rollins. Do you think that Lindy Waters is going back to OKC? Lindy Waters. Potentially. Yeah, we'll see. College basketball at Oklahoma State. Looking at his numbers right now, with what he was able to do this past year, 8 points per game, 3 rebounds and an assist, a PER of 13, a rookie last year who was able to get some decent playing time. Last 10 games, 22 minutes per night, almost 13 points per game. That is pretty impressive. And OKC has been a very good player development factory over time. Lindy Waters, yet another guy who they've been able to develop in really impressive fashion. A couple super chats coming in. The Gold Eagle 99, $20 super chat. Damian Lillard for Kyrie or Ben Simmons for a player like Jaylen Brown or Jalen Green. I don't think the Houston Rockets are going to part ways with Jalen Green. I think he is going to be the focal point of their young team. I don't think they're going to deal him. I also don't think the Boston Celtics are going to trade away Jaylen Brown. Why would you? Eastern Conference Finals, they're able to make Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum work. I know a lot of people have said, look, if you lose to a down Miami Heat team that's dealing with some injuries, then maybe you should break it up. I disagree. I think the Celtics are well positioned to be one of the Eastern Conference best teams over the next several years, and Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, a big reason for that. Damian Lillard for Kyrie, if I'm Portland, I would never do it. I know what I'm getting with Dame. I never know what I'm getting Kyrie. And for Ben Simmons, I don't think he has much trade value now. $10 super chat coming in from Michael Fernandez. You are important, Chase. My guy, I really appreciate that. I don't see myself as all that important. I just talk sports on the daily covering the NBA and NFL, but I do greatly appreciate that support and the kind words, Michael Fernandez. I know you've been one of our biggest supporters and one of my biggest supporters, so I do greatly appreciate that. And if you think I'm important, that is absolutely awesome. It means that we're doing the right thing here at Chat Sports and we're having an impact. Bro football and basketball. Collins for Brogdon. I imagine you're talking about John Collins for Malcolm Brogdon. So that would be a trade between the Indiana Pacers and the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks are in an interesting situation right now because they're going into an offseason after having a pretty frustrating out in the first round to the Miami Heat. And they're a pretty deep roster, but they weren't good defensively this past year. And honestly, they weren't consistent enough considering all of the talent that they need and all the talent that they have. So I think the Atlanta Hawks do need to make some changes on that roster. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think they have the players to move in order to get some pretty good players back to continue to build around Trae Young. Trae Young is such a unique talent. Not everybody can play alongside him. So they do have some big roster decisions to make. Malcolm Brogdon, I wouldn't hate the fit. I just worry about his injuries, man. Malcolm Brogdon for a long time has been a very, very good guard. He's also been injured almost every single year since winning Rookie of the Year with the Milwaukee Bucks. And John Collins going back to Indiana, you pair him up with Miles Turner, it's a pretty damn good front court right there. So, yeah, that's a trade that I could see happening, and the money does work for both of those players because both last year signed contract extensions throughout NBA free agency. Speaking of NBA free agency, I want to hear from you in the comment section right now. Name an NBA free agent that people are sleeping on. Get creative, and I want to hear from you, so drop a name or names in the comment section right now. Amish Abe, what's good, brother? What are the Bulls going to do with Lonzo? They seem to be pretty concerned about that knee injury, which really sucks. Because when Lonzo Ball went to Chicago, I love that free agent acquisition. I don't even care if there was some tampering there. That free agent acquisition was really good by Chicago. He fit really well on that roster. And when he was playing and healthy, and when Zach LaVine was healthy, playing with DeMar DeRozan, who for much of the year was an NBA MVP candidate, and they didn't get to see really what they could do with Patrick Williams, who I think is a stud wing defender. And then with Vucevic, that team was really, really good. Then they suffered all these injuries to their starting unit and their bench, and we couldn't see what Chicago was truly about and how good they could have been. So it's a shame what's happened to Lonzo. I hope that he's able to figure out that knee injury because he's a really good player, and when the Chicago Bulls are playing well, the NBA is in a better spot. Another $10 super chat from the Gold Eagle 99 as the super chats continue to pile in. You'll love to see it. Okay, how about this? Ben Simmons for Collin, Sexton, and Caris LeVert. That'd be interesting because it would bring Caris LeVert back to Brooklyn. And if you're Brooklyn, you need some playmaking guards, right? Now, what happens with Kyrie Irving? I'll respond to that question with that. If you lose Kyrie Irving, that trade could make sense, and then maybe you could target yet another superstar. You would have to sign Collin Sexton to a long-term deal. I think that would make that trade make some sense. But if you just don't believe in Ben Simmons and you think that he's a damaged asset and you think that he's a flake and you don't think that he can tap into his ability and you think that he's tapped out as an offensive player and you want to trade him away and you can get Collin Sexton and Caris LeVert back, it's a pretty good haul. And then for Cleveland, if they get Ben Simmons, the all-NBA caliber defender, he doesn't have to really do much offensively with how well Darius Garland played this past year, Isaac Okoro, as well as Evan Mobley. I think Ben Simmons had actually fit really well on Cleveland. That's a pretty good equal trade for both sides, Gold Eagle. That's a good job by you. Maybe you can be an NBA executive at some point in the future. NBA playoffs continue to roll on. So with that, who do you think is going to win the NBA title? Predict it for me and let me know in the comment section. You can also watch NBA Now and much of our Chat Sports content on Rumble. And we have a great competition going on between three of our NBA channels on the Rumble side of things. NBA Now is our flagship show, but we're losing the Golden State Warriors today. So shout out to Dub Nation for really rallying. More than 2,100 followers and subscribers. NBA Now, north of 2,000. With this video, though, can we catch up to Golden State Warriors today? Let's try to do it. How do you do it? Rumble.com/NBA Now, and then that green follow button, which is basically the same color as that bottom bar. You hit that. Let's catch up to Golden State Warriors today and distance from the Lakers report. Chew Allure with this one. Do you think the Warriors need to draft Kai Soto? Man, Kai Soto to the Warriors would be fascinating because a lot of fans have been calling for the Warriors to pick him. He's an intriguing player who is absolutely massive. Funny enough, he's from the Philippines, and the Warriors fan base has a bunch of fans from the Philippines. I know that because I look at the analytics on our Warriors channel, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Kevon Looney has really become an unsung hero for the Warriors over time. Let's say the Warriors win another championship. Kevon Looney has been the starting center for all of those championship teams pretty much, outside of when Andrew Bogut was there back several years ago, right? Kai Soto is a backup center. I wouldn't hate taking a chance on him in the second round. He has extraordinary size, 7'2", 232 pounds, and I know on Golden State Warriors today, that video would certainly pop. So I'm interested in Soto for sure for Golden State because I know that they do such a great job of developing players, and I think they'd be able to develop Soto into a pretty good rotational guy. Antip, who should the Bucks trade for to improve? I thought it was a little bit of a mistake trading away Dante DiVincenzo. I think they missed some wings and some depth in that series against the Boston Celtics. I honestly think that roster is in a pretty good position, honestly. I mean, they're pretty deep. You get back Chris Middleton, and if that's the case, do the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Boston Celtics with Chris Middleton? They could have used another really good score outside of Giannis, so I think you get back Chris Middleton, and the Bucks will be just fine. Nick Herrera, Marcus Smart and his trade value. He doesn't have any trade value because Boston will not trade him. Basically, his trade value, he is untouchable. He's not getting dealt. Defensive Player of the Year. When he's been on the floor, the Celtics are a different team. When he hasn't been playing, the Celtics certainly miss his leadership. They miss his dog mentality. They miss his toughness. And honestly, I have to give props to Marcus Smart. I had some questions about how he was going to be able to play point guard after not having ever played prototypical point guard. Played really, really well. and he won Defensive Player of the Year. Good job by him. Celtics ain't trading him. He is part of the fabric of the Boston Celtics. Looking into next year, Marcus Smart was the Defensive Player of the Year, but who do you think is going to be the NBA MVP next year? Let me know down in the comments section. I'm looking at Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum as taking those next steps. Dennis Henman, what's the biggest surprise player you could see getting traded this summer? Man, could Ben Simmons never play a game for the Brooklyn Nets? I think he could get dealt. Maybe John Collins could get traded as well. James Harden off a sign-and trade. Bradley Beal maybe. Those are some surprise players who could get traded. Dennis, way to make me think. I appreciate it. Darius Ralston. Will OKC make a blockbuster trade with the second pick? Maybe, but look, you look at the timeline for that team, you have the franchise pillars right now in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. You have Lou Dort. You have a couple of other really good young pieces, and let's say that you can land a Jabari Smith, a Paolo Banchero, a Chet Holmgren. I don't think you want to trade that pick away because you're not expected to win next year or the year after that. You're building for a couple of years from now. OKC, man, look out. They're going to be a dangerous team in about 3-5 years. That guy, Pal, do you think Russell Westbrook is washed? I do, and I think he's been washed for a little while. His numbers continue to go down. He's lost just a little bit athletically, and the game has passed him by to a certain degree, which has been somewhat sad to see. But Russell Westbrook, inefficient offensive player, has never really been a great shooter. He plays a maddening and reckless style of basketball that I don't think is conducive to winning long into the playoffs, and he's been his worst enemy. What makes him great is his intensity and his competitiveness. That also makes him bad too because he's always going for the kill shot and he never knows when to slow the game down or slow his internal clock down. If you made it this far in this video, first of all, I greatly appreciate you. But I also want you to show us that you made it this far in this mailbag because this is the end of the mailbag. Type me. We'll go back and give you some love and give you some shout outs in the comment section.